So WoW's 20th anniversary is only a few weeks away, and we just got a massive article officially released by Blizzard that goes over all of the information you need to know for this event, the new currencies, how to obtain all of the new cosmetics or all of the anniversary specific items, including every way to get the new currencies. Now, the main thing I want to go over in this video is how to obtain all of the cosmetic items, because I think that's the majority of things people are going to care most about. And before we get into all of this information, I just want to make it very clear that it is guaranteed that either before this event goes live or sometime during this event, a good amount of the information in this will change. And by that, I mean, it's going to get a lot easier to earn the tokens to buy these cosmetic items. I 100% guarantee this is going to change pretty heavily and it's going to get a lot easier. There's already a lot of people complaining because of how they're going about this, specifically in terms of time gating. And if you've played any of the recent events Blizzard has had, stuff like Plunderstorm or WoW Remix, or even the pre-patch event for the War Within, all of those things got substantially easier to get all of the rewards from them as time went on. People complained a lot about them and they just made them substantially easier. So keep that in mind. I guarantee you a lot of the stuff in this is going to change in terms of how long it's going to take you to earn all of the cosmetics. Now, as I mentioned, the main thing I wanted to go over in this video is how to obtain the cosmetic items, specifically in the 20th anniversary. And for these, you're going to be buying them with the bronze celebration tokens, which is the 20th anniversary specific currency. And these celebration tokens are only used for cosmetics. This is something that I've oddly seen being complained about as well, but there are two new currencies for the 20th anniversary. There's the bronze celebration tokens that are only used for cosmetics, and there's time warped relic coffer keys, which are currency tied to the new Blackrock Depths raid, where doing anything in the raid, killing bosses, you'll get this new currency and it will allow you to go buy gear from the raid. So basically, if you're on the raid, you don't get the items you want and you have enough currency for one of the items at the vendor, you can go buy one of those items. Those items aren't cosmetic items. Those are actual pieces of gear. And I'm not sure why I've seen people complaining about this, because this is exactly what everybody wanted with WoW Remix. WoW Remix had one currency that was bronze, but you use that for power upgrades and cosmetics. Everybody wanted two currencies, and that's what they did in the 20th anniversary. There's only two new currencies, the bronze celebration tokens for cosmetics, the time warped relic coffer keys for actual gear. So keep that in mind. It's not very complex. These two are the only new currencies. Now, how you go about earning these bronze celebration tokens, at least early on in the event, is the main thing that's going to be complained about a lot, because it's heavily time gated. But even though it's heavily time gated, I don't think this would actually take you a lot of time per week, because pretty much all of the ways in which you earn currency early on is going to be weekly activities. So first off, you do have 3 one-time quests, which are pretty much all introductions at the 20th anniversary fair outside of the Caverns of Time. There's 3 different quests that will all earn you a handful of these tokens. Those are only one-time quests, so you do those once and you'll get a few additional tokens. But outside of that, pretty much everything else at the start are weekly quests or activities, and there's a long list. So there's some new quests. So there's the Celebrate Good Fun quest, which will just be one of the quests in the event area. There's Chromie's Codex, which is the new scenario. There's Blackrock Depths, which is the new raid. There's the new world bosses, which you only have to kill a handful of those. There's Classic Time Walking, which is a permanent addition to the game, but will be active the entirety of the 20th anniversary. There's all of your weekly quests in Dornegal, so those very easy weekly world quests that could be doing any of the open world activities or go doing a random dungeon, any of those weekly quests. You have the weekly bonus event, which will obviously change on a weekly basis. It could be time walking, could be pet battles, could be battlegrounds, could be mythic dungeons. You have a Queen Anseret kill, which will be able to be done in LFR, so you can just queue for LFR. I think it's 2 bosses in that wing, then you'll get some currency from that. It's your normal War Within world boss kill, which again will take a couple minutes. It's your weekly outdoor activities, so that's all of your outdoor events. Spread the Light, Snuffling, which is just looting all the dirt piles, your Ashgahat packs, your theater tropes, and then your open world special activities. And presumably these are going to work in the same way the boxes work right now, where the first 4 you loot a week gives you something different, and then you have some weekly PvP stuff. So your weekly PvP Horde Mode, Conquest, Honor, and Brawls. And those are all of the weekly quests that you'll be able to do, which is the main way in which you'll be getting the Bronze Celebration tokens. Now, this mixed with how expensive some of the items are is the main issue that I think a lot of people are going to be complaining about, because this is pretty heavily time gated, even though, as I mentioned, this actually won't take you a ton of time to do all of this on the list on a weekly basis, because keep in mind, this is all weekly stuff. There's currently no daily things at the start of the event. But once we get a few weeks into the event and we've been earning a bunch of these tokens, there are a handful of achievements that will substantially change how you're going to acquire a lot of these cosmetics. The first one is that there is an achievement that once you acquire 100 tokens, you will earn an achievement that allows you to get tokens from repeatable activities. And these activities include Blackrock Depths, raid bosses, world bosses, which it doesn't specify if this is only the world bosses from the 20th anniversary or if this is also the world bosses from the War Within, your classic time walking queues, which is just queuing up for classic time walking dungeons, your Codex of Chromie queues, which is the new scenario with the event, you just queue up for it, and then Korok's Revenge daily quests. And Korok's Revenge is the returning battleground that's in AV, and there's a bunch of daily quests within that as well. So all of those things, you'll be able to earn as many tokens as you can from them. And they do mention that these are completely ungated tokens. I'm wondering if that means you can go and like rerun the Blackrock Depths raid, and even though you wouldn't be able to get loot from it, you would still be able to get tokens. But presumably the classic time walking queues is just going to be the best thing to do to get tokens once you get this. So you just run a bunch of classic time walking dungeons. It'll probably be much easier on very low level characters, and you'll just get a bunch of tokens doing that. Now, on top of that, you also have 2 achievements based on purchasing the remade tier 2 armor sets, which is probably what most people care about. So starting off, all of the tier 2 sets are going to cost 60 Bronze Celebration tokens, which is pretty expensive. Once you buy your first tier 2 set, you will get 1 achievement that lowers the cost to 40 tokens. Once you buy your second set, it'll lower the cost of all other sets to 20 tokens. And this means that in total, to buy every single tier 2 set, it's going to cost you 320 of these Bronze Celebration tokens. And that includes all of the discounts. Now, that is the absolute vast majority of the tokens you need. Pretty much all of the other cosmetic items you can get with tokens are all super cheap. I think everything else is either like 5 or 10 tokens. So these armor sets are like 95% of all of the tokens you need in the event. Now, it's also mentioned in this article that going and doing all of these weekly quests, it'll take you about 2 to 3 weeks to get your first tier 2 set, which will then lower the cost of all of your other sets. And then your second set, again, will lower the cost. And I think this is the area that is guaranteed to be changed. It's either they're going to allow you to do a lot more activities to get tokens, either by removing the achievement and just allowing you to farm the tokens from all of the events at the start, or by just massively increasing the tokens you get from all of the weekly quests. If I would have to guess, before this event goes live, they will probably massively buff the amount of tokens you get from doing all of these weekly activities, and they probably won't allow you to infinitely farm them right off the bat. Because also, if they allow you to infinitely farm tokens right at the start, it's almost guaranteed that it's going to take longer than them just time gating it with all of these weekly activities. But any way you look at it, this event is going to change pretty heavily before launch and pretty heavily after launch, where it's just going to be a lot easier to get all of the cosmetics you want. It's a certainty that until you can log in and get all of the cosmetics in a couple hours, people are going to continue to complain. And like we saw with the War Within pre-patch and Remix and Plunderstorm, they will just keep making it easier and easier to obtain this currency. So keep that in mind. You may not want to grind super early on in this event because it's just going to be made easier at some point. Now, as mentioned, the vast majority of tokens are going to be used on the remade tier 2 sets, which is probably the main thing most people care about. There are some other things you can purchase with these though. There's a bunch of the pets you could get in previous anniversary events, all of those costing 10 tokens. Then there's 2 different mounts you can get, the Core Hound from the 10th anniversary, and then the Obsidian Worldbreaker, which I think was from the 15th, which is basically just the Deathwing mount. Both of those are 20 tokens. And then you also have the handful of new cosmetics, which are the Blizzard service rewards added into the game. So a shield appearance, appearance, a back appearance, a toy, a head appearance, and a sword appearance. And those are all going to cost 10 to 15 tokens. And that's pretty much all you're going to be spending these tokens on. Once you have everything purchased, you can also turn in 1 token for 20 time warp badges. So if you're somebody that wants to keep farming all of these different events, you'll be able to earn a ton of badges using all of the additional tokens that you don't actually have anything to spend on. If you're even able to put a couple hours into WoW every week, you're not going to have much difficulty getting all of these cosmetics. But that's all I want to go over, so thanks for watching.